this is Megan from Glimpse Within. Welcome to my channel and this month of May 2018. I decided to do a gold and yellow roses theme, and I love using watercolors. Right now I am painting my roses to add to the spread that I'm going to do for my Plan With Me for May for my bullet journal. I'm using my Gansai, Tambi, Starry, and Pearl colors sets. I'll link them in the description. I just got them on Amazon. They were a little bit cheaper than other brands, so and I really like them actually. So I just wanted to do something fun and springy, and one of my favorite colors is yellow, and this is my birthday month, so I thought I should do something that I love. Right now I am just going in and coloring with my watercolors a little bit with some white space in between, and this is because it'll bleed together and make just a big blob if you don't do that. And so in order to delineate that, I left some white space, and then I'll go back to those old roses that I painted above later, and I'm just mixing my gold with some of the yellow pearlescent color and different colors of gold, some of the darker to make the lines and then some of the lighter to make some of the petals. One little tip that helps me is that I pull up some pictures of yellow roses before I get started as a reference, and that way I have an idea of kind of how the petals look, and I'll study that before I get started to make it a little bit easier and more natural for me to remember what all the petals look like and all the intricate details. And I might look at a few different ways that they are angled so that I can do different styles. One thing to play around with too is although right here I am using only watercolor, to go back in and draw in the lining for everything. You can always use your micron pens or any pen really, and you could use different colors to make it really vivid and fun. You can do really anything you want. You could go back with white if you wanted, white paint pen marker. You could really do it with a gold paint pen marker that I actually do later when it's in my journal, because I didn't like necessarily how it turned out without more lines. And so right now I'm just detailing it up. I'm going back in with a light bit of water with more paint on it to make it darker, and I'm using those darker palette colors from my Starry color palette. And now in a minute here I will get some of my green watercolor from this other palette that I will link the description to. I really like it. It's got some bright neons in it, which is why I purchased it. And I'm just going back in and making a little bit of green leafy details to make it look more lifelike and fun. I know that on my Plan With Me for important dates side of the page, which I'll show you in a minute, I wanted something long with a long stemmed rose to go along the side. So that is what I'm doing here. At first I just used the yellow, and then I go back in with some gold on the edges of each of the petals making it stand out a little bit more. It was a little tricky and started to get kind of muddy looking on this one. So as you'll see at the very end of the video, I decided to go back with my Sakura gold paint pen marker and draw on the lines of the petals a little bit more intricately. And then I'm just painting another rose. I tried to make 6 so that I'd have plenty to use for my monthly spread and for a weekly spread for the first week of May. So here I am just doing another rose. You can start to just have fun with it and do different variations and color patterns. I just kind of wanted mine to be cohesive. Some of them are a little bit more gold, some are a little bit more yellow, but they all kind of go with the theme. And then next I cut out everything, which I don't show you, and then I used a bit of scrap paper left from my watercolor paper, and I decided to make my little Hello May calligraphy. One thing that I'll show you is that I'm going to use a gold poster paper, and it's really shiny, and so you can't really write on it or it'll just wipe right off. So that is why I am doing everything on the watercolor paper. You could just do it on regular paper or cardstock paper too. But that is why I am drawing everything out rather than write on the bullet journal. I am doing it on this watercolor paper just to make it a little bit easier to write on rather than the poster paper that you'll see in a minute. And so I do this, I'm outlining it with gold, and I used my micron pens to kind of outline the color of my 2 dual brush Tanmit markers, which I'll link the description to, that I'm using. And I just used kind of a yellow and then a darker yellow, and then this one I decided because of the leaves of the roses to do green, and it looks a little bit Rastafarian, but I think it looks cute once it's in the bullet journal itself. And then I'm just drawing out my monthly calendar, and the rows aren't really all that equal, but I like to just kind of eyeball it because measuring each row and everything takes way too much time. So I just eyeballed it with pencil, and now I'm going back over with my micron pen, and then I will put in the dates. Gluing in the poster paper. I just got it from Hobby Lobby, and it's really shiny and cute. I thought it went with my gold and yellow theme for the flowers. I'm just pasting it in because I ran out of my dual-sided tape dispenser. I need to get more, so I just used a glue stick, which I don't love as much, but it's better than nothing. And now I am using gold washi tape and then some floral washi tape to just make it more decorative on the right side. And then I'm trying to figure out where to space my different watercolor flowers and roses that I did. And then I just decided to start pasting in the top title, and then the calendar date, and a little leaf that I made to go on the side. It fits right in that space perfectly. And then I do my calendar, and then I start to put the different roses in. It was a little tricky to space them, but see, this one was the long stem rose that I needed on my important dates side, and I knew that, so I put that in right there. Later on with that one long stem rose, I do use my Sakura Gold paint pen to make the detailing a little bit more stand out against the watercolor, because it kind of looked all mushed together, which watercolor can do easily, and I'm definitely not an expert yet. So yeah, and then in order to hold down some of the glue stick, I used my little pin on the side, and then I'm trying to fit these other two roses in there. And then I'm just gluing these roses into place, and this one didn't quite fit, so I actually ended up cutting it down a little bit, as you can see, just to make it mesh up a little bit better. I think it's fine if they overlap, but I kind of wanted there to be a little bit of gold space from the poster paper underneath, in between. So after I paste this in, then I get out my stencils and I start to decide what kind of stencil I want to use for a banner for the right side of my important dates bullet journal side. So I'm looking through them, trying to find one that's big enough. I really like these stencils. Some of them aren't quite as big as I would like. I wish they had like a jumbo stencil kit, which I'm sure they do. But then I found this larger banner and it fit just perfectly. So I'm just using my micron pen to outline that. And then my Tanmit markers, I use the yellow to go over it after I write important dates. And then I just write the dates of the month down the side. I tried using that yellow, but it wasn't showing up, as you can imagine. So then I just switched to my pen. And then I thought this space needed a little something, so I ended up using my micron pen and drawing in another little rose. Rather than using watercolors this time, after my micron pen, I took my dual tip markers and used the light and darker golden yellow to kind of fill in some of the petals with randomness. Sometimes petals for succulents, roses, and most kind of flowers, it looks better if you use 2 or 3 or 4 different shades of a color. It kind of makes it look more realistic. And then I'm just going back in with my pen and making the details a little bit darker. And this is how my layout turned out. Next, I am going to do a layout of monthly goals and then a mood tracker on the same layout. I've never done a mood tracker before, but I love doing monthly goals. It helps me kind of see my month in advance and what's coming up, and the goals I have get me excited. I try to do both personal, and then I am in school, so I try to do ones for my graduate program. So here I am just pasting some more of that poster paper in, and then some of the roses that I have painted earlier, and then I am just writing my monthly goals. I'm not that great at hand lettering yet, but I'm working on it. A lot of times what I'll do as a tip to help for beginners, if you're like a beginner like me, is I will look online and I'll just type in monthly goals calligraphy, and then it'll show me an example and I'll eyeball it off that for each letter, and it really helps me get the hang of hand lettering, and then I can do a lot better on my own without looking at anything I've noticed. So anything that you're writing usually is written in calligraphy on Google Images online, so you can find it and then kind of base your style off of that until you get more comfortable. So I just use my dual brush markers, and I am painting another little rose, outlined it with my micron pens, and then I'm using my washi tape, which I'm kind of obsessed with. I love it. I think I put a little too much on my spreads, but that's okay. I think it just adds some fun and spunk and a little bit of style to it. And this is gold washi tape that's in the shape of roses that you can't really tell. And then I'm trying to figure out what is big enough for my stencils, and then I just give up and eventually use the ruler to make a square to write my goals on. And then I wanted to make something viney that looks like related to my rose theme, so I did some thorn stems around the goals sheet that I'm going to write on. First I did it in pen, and then I go back and add some leaves and some thorns, and I do it with green outline as well, just to add a little bit of color because I thought it was looking kind of barren, which it is kind of a rose bush thorny looking style, so I mean it does look a little barren. And then I just add my goals. Next, for my mood tracker, rather than drawing a rose, I have this mindfulness coloring book that I never really use. As you can tell, nothing's colored in. So I thought it would be a fun way to use it in my bullet journal for mood trackers, since it's empty and you can just color it in. And I found a rose in there. Kind of shame I have to paste in over the butterflies because they're really cute too. But I think it goes better with my theme, the rose side of it. So I kind of tried to count and see like how many petals there were. Definitely were not 31. So I think I'll do like half a petal or something, and then towards the end I'll probably do more and start from the inside and go out. Now I'm just hand lettering mood tracker. This is the one Tombow dual tip brush pen that I have. It's black, mostly because my Tanmit marker, the black one that I got, which you need the most, unfortunately, came and it was kind of frayed. So I tried cutting it and shaping it back to the way it was supposed to be, but it didn't work. So I ended up just going to Michael's and getting a single dual brush pen from Tombow. And then I'm doing different colors to represent my mood, starting at the left with the lowest mood, and then the best mood to the right is gold. So then I'm just coloring in how I feel today. And this is how this spread looks all together. Now I'm going to do the first week of May, a monthly spread. Actually, I already kind of did this on accident for the last week of April. So I'll have two places where I can kind of write my week. I think I'll transition and start this one on the Tuesday that May actually starts. And so that's why I just do 4. I tend to just do my weekly spreads for the weekdays instead of the weekend, since I don't really have a to-do list on the weekend. I try to make it really free and fun, and if I do have anything that I want to get done, I'll just kind of write at the bottom for the weekend ahead. And then I just outlined each circle from my jumbo circle stencil with my Sakura gold paint pen, and then I am using my starry colored watercolors in gold to color them in. Once I fill all of those in, I'm going to go back and use my final watercolor rose and figure out a place to paste it. I go with the left side because it just kind of fit a little bit better. The other side, the circles were a little bigger. And then I'm going back to use my stencil again because I like the banners that they have. I am going to start with Tuesday, like I said, and I kind of switch between doing a top title and on the bottom title. And it was still a little bit wet, so kind of had a little bit of a hard time writing with my Pilot pen, but I went back and fixed the areas that didn't write as well. And then I'm just lettering in the days of the week. And now, just to stylize it, I am going to add some gold washi tape. Again, it's that gold rose style that I bought on Amazon. I'll link in the description. It came with a bunch of gold washi tape that I absolutely love. Not the one in the upper left corner. That one's really sparkly and has a fun texture. But that's a Scotch brand that I got at Target. And then I'm just using my gold paint pen marker to draw in some more roses because I thought it looked a little bit blank and needed some fun designs there too. So I'm just adding some and kind of making it look a little bit more funky and fun. And then I'm just going back to add a little bit of leaves and things like that. And this is the first week of May, my weekly spread. I really love the way it turned out. You can see in the sunlight that it kind of glitters a little bit with the gold. And thank you so much for watching. Here is my spread for May, and please subscribe to watch more monthly spreads in the future.